Flores Tackle.
Well, good morning, and this morning you find me on Oliver's Lake in Witham in Essex. It's available on the Caps ticket, and I'll be honest, it's the first time I've seen the venue. Beautiful little lake, quite a horseshoe shape, and there's certainly plenty of visible features to go at. Now, the main reason for my trip today is to talk you through a new product that's just come out in the shops. It's a new mono called Touchdown. I won't tell you all the properties about it now. That's what we're going to run throughout the day, and hopefully we can catch a couple whilst we're doing it. Now, I've got one drilled onto the far margin, really tight up front. I saw a couple of carp bubbling this morning, and now there's some showing in really close. I'm just going to flick this one down there now, see if we can get a bite straight away. Right, as previously mentioned, I have got one drilled onto the far margin. You can see I've got the overhanging bush. I'm just sort of parallel with that to the right, so it's as far as I go where I know that I'm still fishing safely. The clutch is locked up solid, so there's no chance the carp can gain sanctuary. Now, in a normal situation, if I'd have known the lake and perhaps thought ahead, I'd have probably gone round beforehand to bait up right on top of it. Now I've got the rod in position, I'm obviously not going to leave it. The trusty catapult. Now, it's a new catapult that's coming out into the shops next week. It's made by Guru. It's called the Incredible Pult. But the best thing about it is I can literally put one boil in at a time, and I can bait bang on every single time. There's no chance. I'm not going to fall short. I'm not going to feed over the top of my lines and risk sort of them feeding where I don't really want them to. And that's a good little tip, especially on this sort of fishing when you're trying to nick a bite from that sort of spot. You're not necessarily creating a big feeding environment. They're passing through there constantly, so you don't need to fill it in. I've got a pocket full of boilies, probably about 30, 40 baits, and they're all going to land almost on top of each other. That way, when a carp comes in, nice little snack, and hopefully might be one of the first to go. We'll see. Right, I'm about to recast my left-hand rod. Now, when I first got here this morning, I sort of clipped up to the spot, wrapped it out on the stick so I know exactly where I've got to cast to. Now, I don't know if you've ever had this happen to you in the past, but once you've got all clipped up, you then put your rig on, maybe like I have done, a very small PVA bag just to protect the hook point, and you found yourself casting into the island or into a branch, and it's just not landed where you're expecting it to after you've done all the hard work. Now, the reason for that is the stretch in the main line. All monofilament has an element of stretching, some stretchier than others, but the Touchdown is far less stretchy than, to my knowledge, all other lines on the market. Now, what that means, I've clipped my bag on, I can cast at exactly the same spot, safe in the knowledge that it's going to land pretty much where just the lead landed when I was having a play around early this morning. Let's put that into practice. Right, I've reeled the margin rod in now. It's done very little since it's been out there. Had the odd line, but if I'm honest, that was almost after I'd put the bait in. I've got a feeling it was small fish darting around, and because I'm fishing so close, I'm just tweaking the line a bit. I've seen a bit more activity going on in open water, so I've decided to put a slightly bigger PVA bag on. I'm going to put a little bit of bait around it as well, just to see if, if there's something out there that we can draw down to have a feed. Now, like I mentioned earlier, I've never fished the lake before, so I've got no idea what the bottom's like, and that's another important feature that a low stretch mono like the Touchdown can do. I'm going to cast down, holding the rod tight. I can feel for the drop. Obviously, through experience, I'll know what I'm fishing over. So first and foremost, I'm going to get this into position to try and get a fish, and then I'll talk you through exactly how you can use it to do exactly the same. Right, I mentioned that I was going to talk about feeling the lead down. That's exactly what we're going to do now. It's a very simple concept that still not enough anglers do, so let me just talk you through it. As you cast your lead out into the water, just before it touches down, just sort of feather the line so your rig's getting put out straight, but before it hits the surface, stop it dead. And that means as the lead hits the surface, you've got a direct tight line from the lead all the way to your rod. Now, as you're feeling it down through the surface, you'll sort of feel yourself getting almost pulled with the weight of the lead before it crashes down on something. And that's the donk that people talk about when you read in the magazines or see us, when we say it on the TV in bits and pieces. And it's that donk that can help you put more fish on the bank. The harder the donk, the firmer the bottom. I know it sounds obvious, but there'll be quite a few people that are still not sure what they're looking for. So if you get a real hard donk, that tends to mean you're fishing over gravel, maybe clay, that's also quite firm. And then as you sort of work through the different sort of bits and pieces you'll find on the bottom, you go through silt, which is very soft. It feels almost like if you imagine bouncing lead on a trampoline, it'd be that. There'd be nothing there, almost just falling through. And the worst one that you don't want to feel is when you feel absolutely nothing, and that just means you're in some sort of thick weed, so the chances are your rig's not presented. Now, a lot of my fishing is very, very short sessions, often just overnighters, or often like we've got today, you know, I've got a day to try and catch a fish. Now, if I was to see a fish show, I'd want to put a bait on it, because it's, you know, a 20-pound marker float jumping out of the water tells me exactly where my baited rig should be. So by casting at it and doing exactly like I've just said, by feeling it through the water, I'll have some idea as to how my rig will be laying on the bottom. It's obviously not perfect, there's obviously different bits and pieces laying around that you can't possibly see, but if you follow the basic rules that, you know, if you're getting a good donk, you know that your rig's going to be presented well, and just get into the habit of doing it every single time, trust me, you will put more fish on the bank. Now, I've seen a couple of comments on Facebook and bits and pieces. There's always the odd negative person about a very rude duck. There's always the odd negative comment about certain things, and people were, I saw one person in particular comment saying, you know, I've never had any problem feeling my lead down in the past. He's right in some ways, but by bringing out the low stretch touchdown that we have, we're making it easier. That's almost like saying I used to catch carp before I used the hair rig. Maybe you did. I'm 100% sure you caught more but since you've used the hair rig, and that's all this is. This is a progression, this is an improvement in a monofilament. It's the lowest stretch line on the market. Trust me, start using it, start feeling that lead down, and you will put more fish on the bank. It's all gone a bit quiet, the fizzing stopped. I've moved that rod back in the margin, and it's just had a real subtle bite. It's almost like it didn't know it was hooked until it just sort of drifted out a little bit, and it now well and truly knows it's hooked. Just thinking about what to do. It's sort of, like I say, I didn't think it was going to be easy, but I thought we'd have had more chances. But as it happens, it's had a couple of weird breamy sort of occurrences. And this tip just slowly pulled round, and now we've got quite an angry carp on the end. Really extreme margin. That's the closest I've hooked a carp for a long time. And you can see the gap while I'm playing it, literally under that tree. Proper exciting stuff. There we go. First one of the day. Well, how about that? It's come to the rod that you saw me lowering just off my rod tip. They were doing me in close, coming right in under the rod tips. Thankfully managed to nail this absolutely belting common. It might be my first trip. Unfortunately, it's got to be my last as well. Couldn't have come at a better time. I've got to reel in, I've got to get back to work for the afternoon. Happy days.
Flores Tackle. Go to www.florestackle.com. Connect with us on Facebook and Twitter, or call us on 01375 371 200. Our friendly and knowledgeable staff will be happy to help.